So this is a new series called Road Talk, which is a spinoff of Table Salt, but since we're not at a table and there's no salt, we're going to be road talking, backed by popular demand. So hopefully this will be amazing.
Oh, it'll be something.
It'll be. I still think we definitely should be doing some karaoke. If we were karaokeing, what is your go-to karaoke song?
I don't really karaoke a lot, but it would probably be a country western song.
90s country.
90s country. One of my favorite ones to sing in the car when I'm by myself is John Michael Montgomery's Grundy County Auction.
How's it go? Let's hear it.
I'm not going to sing it right here.
You should sing it right now. It's just us.
No, yeah.
It's just
you know how it goes.
I don't know how it goes.
Hey, pretty lady, won't you give me a sign?
Hey, pretty lady, won't you give me a sign? I'd do anything to make it mine, oh mine.
Do your bidding and be at your beck and call. Yeah.
That's a great song.
I think it's fun to sing.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really good at it when I'm by myself in the
That's
car.
awesome. All right, karaoke.
I sound pretty much like John Michael Montgomery, really.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. 90s country, classic, golden age.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll never convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
I know that there are those purists that are like Loretta Lynn, Yeehaw, whatever.
I mean, she clearly was awesome, but, you know, there's always a new thing.
There's always a new thing. Always a new thing. What's your favorite song right now?
Favorite song right now? I don't know. Honestly, I listen to more talk radio than I do music.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Is that a bad confession?
No. It does explain why you're so stressed out all the time. No,
yeah, that's probably right. Yeah.
Are you
I'm eclectic.
Podcasting? Or?
I'm eclectic with music. So
yeah,
sometimes I'll listen to Christian. Sometimes I listen to country.
Yeah.
I like 80s rock.
80s pop rock.
I listen to 80s pop rock. Yeah, I honestly, I don't listen to a ton of podcasts. I probably should. I know every great leader does, but like if someone sends me one, I'll listen to it and enjoy it and think I really should listen to more of these.
Yeah.
But then I don't. So I just listen to talk radio, like News Talk. 660, 820.
Yeah.
570.
Well, at least you're well informed. Like, you definitely want.
I may be biased too. I don't know, but I am informed. Yeah, I feel like I generally know what's going on in the world.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, we always had like the newspaper, and they'd be like, "There it is in black and white." And even my parents, who were not, no judgment to my parents. I love my parents. I would never have said that they were like civically involved, but they still read the paper every day.
Yeah.
You know. And there was two papers. You had the Times Herald or the Morning News.
Yeah.
And we were a Times Herald family.
Well, I do think, I mean, and this isn't intended to be political, although I know everything feels really political at this point.
Yeah.
But the way people consume media has shifted, period. It just has.
Oh,
and so, like a lot of the younger folks are spending more time listening to Joe Rogan and not just younger folks, but there are, I mean, and I'm sure there are a lot of others, but it's interesting to watch the political landscape shift, even just with who's allowed in the press briefing room at the White House now, that it's like, it's not just the staple people anymore.
Right.
It's broadening for a lot of different mediums to be there, which I think is kind of cool. So
yeah, for sure.
Probably going to need to, I do like Joe Rogan. I like his podcast, I should say. I've listened to a few of them, and I think he has thoughtful questions. And
he does. He's a good interviewer. The hot sauce guy. Do you ever watch the hot sauce? He's an amazing interviewer.
No, I haven't.
And
who's the hot sauce guy?
He does this series where he's interviewing celebrities or whoever, and they're eating chicken wings, hot wings. And
I've heard of that guy. Yeah, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah, and it gets progressively hotter. But he's an excellent interviewer.
I need to listen to some of those.
Yeah, and I just like try and take notes and try and be better studying him because he's so good at it.
Yeah.
So we're starting a new series called Divine Perspective.
Yeah.
And so this first sermon, it's crazy because it's like a whole history lesson.
It's so dense with just the story.
Yeah, just at the beginning, and there's like a genealogy.
There's no time to come up and take a breath when you're teaching this one.
No. No, and so you're telling this story about all this family drama.
Yeah.
And ultimately getting to Joseph, but there's this one this one part that just really sticks out to me. You tell that whole story of Rachel and Leah and their son's race war, that they're having, not a race war, but like a son's war, all these children that they're bearing. And there's this part where you guys make it a point that Leah had stopped trying to win her husband's love and she started focusing on being loved by God. And so she names her son Judah. I just thought that was really profound. And I remember coming across that part of the sermon and just asking myself, is there something in my life currently that is competing for the attention? How do we know? You're my pastor. How can I tell if there's something that I'm just kind of giving more relevance than my pursuit for God?
Well, yeah, thank you for asking that. It's a good question.
I really should send these to you before time.
It's okay. No, I think it's okay. I mean, it's good to think about it. So first of all, I would say, I don't know that I've ever known anybody, including myself, who, when we're really honest about it, don't have some other allegiances and some other things that we're trying to win the approval of or the attention of.
Right.
And so it could be a lot of different things. So it could be a person, and it could be a thing. And the easiest answer I would think would just be, what is it that gets the majority of your mental space?
Right.
What's your default thing that you either think about or worry about? And if it's like in a work environment, I could see people being all wound up all the time because they're trying to get to the next rung of the ladder. They're trying to continue to, get a bigger paycheck, a fatter retirement, smarter kids, whatever. Like it.
Oh yeah.
But when it starts becoming consuming in my life, I start realizing this is what I think about. Like whenever I'm not having to think about anything else, this is where my mind goes. And as a kid, I can remember really wanting just to hear my dad say that he was proud of me.
Right.
And so anytime I was around my dad, I was trying to do something that would impress him or make him notice, that, hey, I feel like I'm good at this, or I'm trying to be good at this. So it could be in a work environment, or like with my kids, wanting them to succeed. And if all I'm doing whenever I don't have anything else to think about is thinking about their test scores or their college experience, or you know what I'm saying. I don't have to give 1,000 examples, but just off the top of my head, that's been my experience. When my allegiance has shifted, it's the thing I think about when I don't have to think about something else.
There's so much in this sermon that's really, you guys do a great job of laying this foundation of saying there's this family drama that is happening here, and there's all of this dysfunction, and all of that dysfunction can create these voids where you are like competing for attention, and you wanting to say, my dad's proud of me, or it can be whatever. Rachel and Leah competing to have all these sons and all this other stuff. And while it feels like chaos, you kind of recognize, if you step back, hindsight's 2020, God is using all of that.
Yeah.
And you guys tell this whole story, and it's really to get to one person.
Yeah.
Joseph. Do you, I know there's a series where we talk a little bit about your background story. When you look back on the details of your own life, is there a definitive thing that you feel like, as you're, where you are now in life, that this was God was building to this?
Oh yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah,
but I couldn't see it then. There, yeah, for sure. There's so many things now that I look back and I'm like, oh, that's why that happened, or that's why that didn't destroy me. So some things built me up, some things kind of tore me down, but now I'm looking back and I'm able to see. And full disclosure, My dad did tell me he was proud of me whenever I was 22. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. I was so excited to hear that. Uh, but yeah, so whatever the different things were, and everybody's got a childhood. Everybody's got things, and even if a family seems really put together, we all still battle with certain insecurities and wanting to win the approval of others or to try to be, the most athletic sibling or the
Right.
smartest or whatever the thing might be. So I don't want to overstate my story or whatever, but yeah, for sure I can look back and see the move to Texas, for instance.
Yeah.
So hard for me to make that decision,
Mm.
but now I look back and I'm thinking, God ordained that. Like
Right.
He's the one that caused certain things to happen that I could not have known were happening whenever I was a kid at the gas station calling my mom saying, I think it's time for us to move to Texas.
Yeah, there's like this peace that comes when you can get to this point. You look back at all the history and you say, you know, this was by design.
Yeah.
This felt like torture. And I look
Yeah.
back on my own life. Rocky Hernandez, Hector Hernandez, Linda were my parents, and they had some really difficult things that they were struggling with that made my life difficult. But it was by design, and God chose them as they were God's perfect choice for me.
Yeah.
Because God was working something in my
Yep,
life.
absolutely. Yeah, and I want to be really careful. I don't believe God caused the sinful brokenness to happen,
Right.
but He allowed
Yeah.
those things to happen and then made something really great out of it. I'll tell you, whenever I first realized this was true for my life, and I was already in ministry, but it all came together. This kid came into my office crying, and he was so heartbroken. And he kept saying, I was asking, like, hey, what's wrong? He's like, you wouldn't understand. What's wrong? You wouldn't understand. And I said, try me. I don't know. Like, I don't have any idea of what's going on.
Right.
And he said, and keep in mind, I was eating a Snickers and drinking a Dr. Pepper, like, while this whole conversation is happening. And he said, I'm being made fun of at school because I'm overweight, I'm not athletic, and he said, and there's just some stuff going at home that is really hard right now. And in that moment, I realized I was made for this moment.
Yeah.
Because I know what it feels like to be overweight. I know what it feels like to live in an athletic, saturated culture and to not be that. I know what it's like to have some tough nights at home, wondering. So that was the moment for me where I realized for the very first time, none of it was wasted.
Yeah.
And I think you see that in Joseph's story also.
For sure. And I don't want to, what's really difficult is like,
Yeah, we're just telling the story. We can't really pull the points out of it right now.
I know, well, I don't, yeah, and I don't want to like jump ahead to sermon 5 in the series or whatever.
Well, I don't either, but I will tell you this. My favorite thing, and I don't even know if we're going to say this, so if it works its way into a sermon, great. If not, fine. One of my favorite things, but like one of the top favorite things about the story of Joseph is it reminds me that just because others broke you doesn't mean you have to break others.
Wow.
And that's such a good reminder to me, that just because somebody else created chaos in your life doesn't mean that your response has to be adding chaos to their life. That's part of God's redemptive purpose. And so, I don't know. I really do love this story of Joseph, and I'm not just saying that because we're on video and we're doing a series about it. It's such a good story because of all the drama and all the trauma and all the brokenness. And then you get to see something really powerful come about as a result of God's faithfulness.
Absolutely. It's an incredible story.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we're studying our way through it. There's going to be inevitably, because, since I've been in ministry, I hear this a lot where people are like, I don't have any suffering in my life. So does that mean I don't have a story or that God is not using me?
Well, of course not. And I don't know. I would be careful, first of all, to not get into the comparison of suffering and say, well, because I don't have that, then I don't have any. I think somebody who was raised in a great home with godly parents and now finds themselves, in a great job where they're honoring God and doing good things, where it doesn't mean that there's never been anything that has broken their spirit.
Right.
And so I don't know. There's a part of me that goes, I bet if you dug a little deeper, you would find something that hurt, or that you didn't love, or that tested your faith, or that kind of put you through the refining fire. But I guess even to the person who goes, no, honestly, I have just lived a charmed life. There's never really been any kind of anything in my life ever. I would say you should just thank the good Lord for that.
For sure.
And then ask the question, why have you given me this story? And how can I now use this story? Because it's still your story.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be, either ashamed of it, embarrassed by it, or feel like it wouldn't be powerful. It's just because it's not sensational doesn't mean it's not powerful.
Sometimes we do kind of get, we glorify the suffering and forget that the story is not about the suffering. The story is about God,
right,
and the goodness of God.
Yeah.
And that's the point that we're all working towards.
Yeah. And if that's your starting point, then say it.
Yeah.
That's a great starting point. Hey, it's possible. Marla and I are in kind of a unique position, and it has more to do with her personality than it does anything else, and her godliness. But and a lot of counselors will tell you, hey, if you're going to be in a healthy marriage, you're going to have to fight, and you're going to have some trauma, and you're going to have whatever. Can I just tell you, that has not been our experience. And so when we sit and talk with other couples, sometimes we feel like, well, I don't know. I mean, we've never screamed at each other. We've never thrown things at each other. We've never slammed the door and left and said, not coming back, or whatever. And I know that happens for a lot of people. I wouldn't say it's healthy, but I know that happens for a lot of people. But we've done some marriage, not really conferences, but like, marriage night, kind of teaching things and whatever. And we felt super awkward the first couple of them we did. And then we were like, you know what? This is our story. Our story is, for us, we haven't experienced all of these things. And so by God's grace, that may be possible for you too. So again, putting the onus on the spiritual,
right,
and to say that the end result is, where is God taking you, and what's the path that you're taking to get there. And so, I don't think it all has to have suffering and trauma.
Do you feel like, it's hard to tell because you're in the middle of it, right? It's a stupid question. I'm going to ask it anyway. We know that God has brought us through to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to sense now that, you're more mature, that like everything that's happening now, that the new things that you're experiencing that are difficult and hard, all of that is also leading to something? Has your past proven that, or?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I would say, yes, my past has proven it. My humanity still questions it sometimes. Because I don't think any of us love to suffer, and we don't like things to be broken or chaotic. I have noticed that I've gotten better about at least asking, I wonder what God's doing.
Yeah.
And then I ask him, what are you doing? It doesn't necessarily, so far it hasn't proven to kind of take it away for me in the immediate. But I think so. I think I've definitely started to get to a place. I don't know if it's turning 50. A lot changed when I turned 50.
Yeah.
It did.
Did it feel like this is middle age? Like this is what they're
felt
talking
like it
about?
Was, I feel like I've most likely have more behind me than ahead of me.
Yeah.
And it didn't make me sad. It really kind of lit a fire under me a little bit, to be more confident with leading other people, to be more confident, to believe that I have something to offer, and to know that even in the moments where I'm not sure about what's going on, it's okay for me to ask, I wonder what God's doing, because he's proven over and over again in the past that he has been doing things, even when I couldn't see it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So I believe it now too, Yeah, but turning 50 did change my perspective on a lot of stuff. It's weird.
There's just something about the way our trials really teach us how much we can trust God in everything. And that I look back on my own life, and I'm just, God uses everything.
Yeah.
Things that I was doing that I didn't even know were for the kingdom.
Yeah.
God uses everything.
Yeah. And this gets into the Joseph thing a little bit, but whenever you do start looking back and you start piecing together, you're able to look and go, he was there for all of it.
Yeah.
The nights whenever I couldn't go to sleep as a kid, he was there in it.
Yeah.
He was there with me. And the moments when everything really was chaotic and I felt like I could be at peace. I didn't know where that was coming from then.
Yeah.
But I can look now and say, no, it was because I wasn't in that alone, even if I kind of felt like it in the moment.
That makes all the difference,
Yeah.
man. That makes all the difference. Thanks for riding around with me.
Of course, thank you for driving.
We do need to
We
get
need to do the
together and
karaoke
just do
thing. I think that would be
karaoke.
fun.
Yeah.
If I would do the Grundy County auction if I had the track.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like it's a good a cappella song.
I mean, I can look it up right now on YouTube. I can.
No, we're good. We're good. I would need like a whole sound system and reverb and the whole thing.
All right. Challenge accepted.
We can do it in the worship center with Hayes. Because
Perfect.
Hayes makes it all
Now, I feel like-
sound better.
Now, this is going out to our community groups. I feel like you've made a promise to us. So when's the next time we're all together?
I don't know. I would
Worship
consider
night.
doing it just for fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it'd
Let's
be
do
fun.
it. All right, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.